The velvet box made a soft thud against the table. My daughter stared at it like I'd just placed a dead fish in front of her plate. Dad, what is this? I'd spent 8 months on that watch. 8 months of squinting through a jeweler's loupe, my arthritic fingers trembling as I replaced microscopic gears, polished every surface until it gleamed. The same hands that had once assembled complications for collectors across 3 continents, now slow and uncertain, but still capable of one last masterpiece. Open it, I said. Jennifer glanced at her husband Brad, who was scrolling through his phone with one hand while forking turkey with the other. Their son Tyler sat across from me, already bored despite the mountain of wrapping paper around his new Nintendo Switch. Christmas Eve dinner at their Silicon Valley home. Everything here screamed money. The Sub-Zero fridge, the marble countertops, the abstract art that cost more than my annual Social Security. Everything except gratitude. My daughter opened the wooden box. I'd made the box myself too, from walnut, with brass hinges I'd antiqued by hand. Inside, nestled in navy silk, was the watch. The Patek Philippe Ref, 2000, 526, circa 1956, 18-karat gold case, champagne dial with applied markers, automatic movement, one of only 210 ever made. My wife had given it to me 38 years ago. On our 20th anniversary, she'd saved for 2 years to afford it. So, you'll always have time for me, she'd said. I'd stopped wearing it after she died 5 years ago. Couldn't bear to feel its weight on my wrist, counting seconds I no longer wanted to track. But 3 months after the funeral, I'd opened my workshop again, started taking it apart, cleaning, repairing, restoring. It became my meditation, my conversation with her memory. Jennifer lifted it from the box with 2 fingers, like it might be contaminated. Oh. Long pause. Dad, it's beautiful, but... Brad looked up from his phone for the first time in 20 minutes. His Apple Watch edition glinted on his wrist, the one that cost $2,000 and would be obsolete in 2 years. Dude, is that thing even working? He leaned over. There's no screen or anything. It's a mechanical watch, I said quietly. You wind it. The movement is visible through the case back. See? I turned it over, showing the intricate ballet of gears and springs through the sapphire crystal. Brad squinted at it. Huh. Jennifer set it down on the table, not back in its box. Just down, next to her wine glass. Dad, you know I'm not really a vintage jewelry person. I'm more contemporary, modern. She touched the Tiffany bracelet Brad had given her earlier. Platinum, diamonds, impersonal. Maybe you could give it to someone who collects these old pieces? Old pieces. She said it like I'd given her a broken toaster. Tyler piped up, 8 years old and honest. Grandpa, why doesn't it have a screen? How do you see your text messages? It just tells time, buddy, I said. My throat felt tight. Brad whispered to Jennifer. But these 72-year-old ears still work fine. Just put it on eBay or donate it to Goodwill. Someone might want it. Goodwill, the watch my wife had saved for 2 years to buy. The watch I'd spent 8 months restoring, each hour thinking about the time I'd wasted not appreciating her when she was alive. The watch I'd imagined on my daughter's wrist, then my grandson's, then his children's. A physical reminder that time is precious, that some things are built to last beyond trends and screens and upgrades. The room felt 20 degrees colder. I could see my breath, or maybe that was just my imagination. The same feeling I'd had at my wife's funeral, when I'd realized I was alone. I should go, I said. Early morning tomorrow. Jennifer looked relieved. Oh, okay, Dad. Thanks for coming. And for the gift. She still hadn't put it back in the box. It sat there on the table next to her empty wine glass, already forgotten. I drove home in silence. The dashboard clock in my 2008 Camry glowed 9:47 p.m. Digital. Soulless, accurate to the second but meaningless. I thought about my workshop, about the hundreds of watches I'd repaired over 40 years. Each one a small piece of someone's life, marking births and weddings and retirements. Each one mattering to someone. When I got home, I sat in my workshop for an hour, just looking at the empty spot where the paddock had lived for 5 years. The indentation in the velvet where it had rested. I'd planned this moment for so long. The presentation, the explanation of its history, the passing of something precious to the next generation. I'd failed. Not just tonight. Long before tonight. I picked up my phone and opened my email. James Wu, an old friend from my watchmaking days, now running an auction house in New York. We'd kept in touch over the years, trading stories about rare pieces we'd seen, movements we'd admired. James, I typed, I have something I need to sell. Can you help me find a buyer? His reply came within minutes. Robert, of course. What are we talking about? I sent him a photo I'd taken of the watch before I'd boxed it, explained its provenance, its condition, its history, my history with it. Holy hell, Robert. Is this what I think it is? 1,956. Ref. 2,526. Original everything. I restored it myself. You're sitting on a gold mine. Let me make some calls. This could bring serious money. I hesitated before typing the next part. It was my wife's gift to me. I was going to give it to my daughter. A long pause. Then, she called it old. Told me to donate it to Goodwill. Another pause. I'm sorry, my friend, but if you're serious about selling, I know collectors who would kill for this piece. Sotheby's just sold a similar reference for over $100,000. My hands started shaking, not from age, from something else. Anger, sadness. Recognition that I'd raised a daughter who couldn't see value unless it came with a price tag she recognized. Set it up, I typed. I want to sell it. The next morning, I wrapped the watch carefully and drove to FedEx. Overnight shipping to New York, insured for $90,000. My best guess at its value. The woman at the counter's eyes widened when she saw the insurance amount. Must be something special, she said. It was, I replied. For the next week, I tried to keep busy. I fixed Mrs. Henderson's grandfather clock, the one that had stopped working after her husband died. I rebuilt the movement in a pocket watch for Tom Chen, no relation, who'd inherited it from his father. Small jobs, paying jobs, but mostly I did them because they gave me purpose. Jennifer called once, asking if I wanted to come to Tyler's basketball game. I made an excuse. She didn't push. James called on day 8. Robert, sit down. I'm already sitting. The appraisal came back. Your paddock? It's rarer than we thought. Only 210 made, and most are in museums or private collections that never sell. Pristine condition. Original papers. Documented provenance. Your restoration work, which is impeccable, by the way. James, what's it worth? Sotheby's wants to list it at $120,000 to $150,000. I couldn't breathe. The watch my wife had saved for 2 years to buy, probably spending $3,000 or $4,000 in 1985 money, was now worth more than my house. There's a client who collects paddock complications, James continued. Private sale, if you want to avoid auction fees. He's offering $127,500, cash, immediate. $127,500. For something my daughter had wanted me to donate to Goodwill. Tell him yes, I said. The sale went through in 3 days. Wire transfer to my account. I stared at the number on my bank app, watching it refresh over and over to make sure it was real. The most money I'd ever had at one time. The price of time, quantified. I didn't tell Jennifer. Didn't tell anyone except James. I needed to think. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing my wife's face when she'd given me that watch. The excitement in her eyes, the way her hands shook when I opened the box. I wanted to give you something that would last, she'd said. Something that reminds you every day that our time together is precious. Had I taught Jennifer that time was precious? Or had I taught her that things were disposable, that value came from newness, that tradition was just another word for outdated? I thought about all the times I'd worked late at the shop, missing her dance recitals, her school plays, her high school graduation speech. Just one more repair, I'd say. This client is paying triple. I'd given her everything she wanted. The nice clothes, the good college, the car when she turned 16. Everything. Except my time. Maybe she'd learned from me after all. Just not the lesson I'd intended. 3 days later, Jennifer video called me. She was in her car, and I could see Brad in the passenger seat. "Dad! Oh my God! Dad, you need to see this." She turned her phone to show Brad's screen. Instagram? Some luxury watch account I'd never heard of. And there was my watch. My Patek, photographed beautifully, golden light catching the champagne dial. Historic Patek Philippe Ref. 2,526 finds new home. The caption read, "This exceptional 1,956 example recently sold for $127,500 to an anonymous collector. Fully restored to original condition, this piece represents the pinnacle of mid-century watchmaking." Jennifer turned the phone back to her face. Her expression was confused, excited, calculating. "Dad, that's your watch, the one you gave me for Christmas. I recognize the dial, the markers. That's the exact same watch." I said nothing. "Dad, did you sell it?" "I did. For $127,000? That's what the buyer paid." "Yes." Silence. I watched her face cycle through emotions. Confusion, disbelief, realization, anger. "Why didn't you tell me it was valuable? I thought it was just, like, sentimental value. You made it seem like it was just an old watch." "It was just an old watch," I said. "To you." Brad grabbed the phone. "Sir, Mr. Chen, look, we didn't know. Jennifer didn't mean anything by it. But that watch, it was a family gift. It should stay in the family. We can work something out, right? Split the money? I can connect you with my financial advisor. We can talk about how to invest it properly. Maybe the watch is gone, Brad." Sold. Done. Jennifer took the phone back. "Dad, this isn't fair. You gave it to me. It was mine. You can't just take it back and sell it." "I gave it to you," I agreed. "You told me to donate it to Goodwill. So I got rid of it, just like you suggested." "That's not what I meant. I didn't know it was worth 6 figures, and that's exactly the problem, Jennifer. You didn't know what it was worth. You couldn't see its value until someone put a price tag on it that you recognized." She started crying. Real tears or performance? I couldn't tell anymore. "Dad, please. That money could help us. Brad's startup needs capital. Tyler's private school is expensive. We could really use—" I ended the call. My hands were shaking again, but this time from something that felt like clarity. I made 2 phone calls that afternoon. The first was to Northwestern University's watchmaking program, one of the few remaining schools teaching the old craft. "I'd like to establish a scholarship," I told the dean. $100,000 for students who want to learn traditional watchmaking. In my wife's name, Margaret Chen. The dean was speechless for a moment. "Mr. Chen, that's incredibly generous. This will fund multiple students for years. I want it to go to students who love the craft," I said. "Not just the ones who can afford tuition, the ones who understand that some things are worth more than their market value." The second call was to my bank. "I need to set up an education fund. $27,500. For my grandson, Tyler Morrison." "Certainly, sir." "For college?" "For whatever education he chooses. Trade school, college, apprenticeship, whatever he wants to learn. But there's a condition." I wrote it all out in a letter to Jennifer and Brad. Sent certified mail, so I'd know they received it. The fund was Tyler's, but he could only access it if he spent at least 1 Saturday a month with me for the next year, learning basic watchmaking and repair. He doesn't have to become a watchmaker, I wrote, but he needs to learn that value isn't just about price. That time spent making something with your hands, fixing something broken, preserving something old, that has worth, real worth, not the kind you can put on Instagram. Jennifer called immediately after receiving the letter. She was furious. "You're bribing my son to spend time with you? That's manipulative. Dad, I'm giving him an opportunity to learn something," I corrected. "The money is his regardless, when he turns 18. But if he wants it for college, he needs to earn it. By learning, by spending time, By understanding that relationships and skills and traditions have value, this is because I didn't like your watch. This is because you couldn't see what I was trying to give you. I wasn't giving you a watch, Jennifer. I was giving you time. The time I spent restoring it. The time your mother spent saving for it. The time it represents. All the hours I should have spent with you growing up but spent in my workshop instead. She went quiet. I failed you, I continued. I gave you everything except what mattered. I bought you things instead of giving you time. So you learned to value things. Expensive things. New things. Things that come with recognizable brand names and price tags. That's on me. I'm trying to fix it with Tyler before it's too late. So I don't get anything? You're cutting me out? You got exactly what you asked for. I got rid of the old watch, just like you suggested. Now, I'm using the money to try to teach the next generation something I failed to teach you. She hung up, didn't call back for 2 weeks. When she finally did, her voice was different, quieter. Tyler wants to do it. The Saturday lessons. Okay. He's actually excited. He keeps asking Brad about how watches work, what makes them tick. I've never seen him interested in anything that doesn't have a screen. Kids are curious if you give them something worth being curious about. Another pause. I'm sorry, Dad. About the watch. I didn't understand. I know. Can I come too? To the lessons? I hadn't expected that. Why? Because I want to learn. Not about watches, necessarily, but about, I don't know. I want to understand what you were trying to teach me. That first Saturday, they both showed up. Tyler bounced with energy, asking a million questions before I could even get my tools out. Jennifer sat quietly in the corner of my workshop, just watching. I started with a simple pocket watch, something from the 1,940 seconds that needed cleaning. Showed Tyler how to open the case, how to see the movement beneath the dial. His eyes went wide. Grandpa, it's like a tiny city in there. All those gears and springs. Every piece has a purpose, I told him. Every gear connects to another gear. If one piece is broken, the whole thing stops. But if you take care of it, clean it, repair it when needed, it can run for 100 years, longer than any smartphone. Jennifer spoke up from the corner. Is that why you were so upset about the paddock? Because you'd spent all that time repairing it? I looked at her. I was upset because I'd spent 8 months trying to fix something broken, trying to preserve something valuable, trying to pass down something meaningful. And you couldn't see any of that. You just saw an old watch without a screen. I see it now, she said quietly. Too late, but I see it. We worked for 2 hours. Tyler's hands were clumsy at first, but patient. He didn't get frustrated when a tiny screw slipped from his tweezers for the 4th time. He just tried again. When they left, Jennifer hugged me. Really hugged me. Not the quick shoulder pat she usually gave. I'm not asking for the money back, she said. I know it's gone, but I want to understand why it mattered so much. Not the price, the other stuff, the real value. Over the next months, Tyler came every Saturday. Sometimes Jennifer came too, sometimes not. Brad never came, too busy with his startup. Always another meeting, another pitch. Some things don't change, but Tyler learned. He learned how to use a loop, how to identify wear patterns on gears, how to feel the difference between a clean movement and a dirty one. He learned patience, focus, respect for craftsmanship. 3 months in, he brought me a broken watch he'd found at a yard sale. Grandpa, can we fix this together? It's really broken. But I think if we replace the mainspring and clean the escapement like you showed me. I'd never heard him use the word escapement before. Hell, most adults don't know what an escapement is. But here was my 10-year-old grandson, diagnosing a mechanical problem, proposing a solution. That's when I knew the money was worth it. Not the $127,000 I'd gotten for the paytech, the $27,000 I'd set aside for Tyler, because he was learning something no school could teach him. 6 months in, Jennifer came alone one Saturday. Tyler was at a birthday party. I need to tell you something, she said. She sat at my workbench, picked up a screwdriver, put it down, nervous hands, just like her mother used to have. Brad and I are getting divorced. I set down the pocket watch I'd been working on. I'm sorry. Don't be. It's been coming for a while. He's not a bad person. He only sees value in one way. Numbers, valuations, market cap. When his startup folded last month, he fell apart. Like his whole identity was tied up in being worth something on paper. She picked up the screwdriver again, ran her thumb along the wooden handle. I've been thinking about what you said, about how you failed me by giving me things instead of time, and I realized I've been doing the same thing with Tyler. Expensive camps, private school, all the right activities. But I can't remember the last time I just sat with him and taught him something. Really taught him. Like you do in here. It's not too late, I said. I know. That's why I'm here. I want you to teach me too. Not so I can tell people I know about watches, but because I want to understand what it means to value something for what it is, not what it costs. So I taught her. Started with the basics, how to identify different movements, how to spot fake hallmarks, how to use a loop. She was slow, careful, afraid of breaking something. It's just a watch, I told her. If you break it, we fix it. That's the whole point. Things can be repaired. They're meant to be repaired. Is that what you're doing? She asked. Repairing things? Always have been. It's the only thing I know how to do. She smiled. Maybe that's what I need to learn. A year after I sold the Patek, Tyler turned 11. His birthday present was a vintage Timex from the 1960 seconds. Nothing expensive, nothing rare, but fully mechanical and fully functional. I'd restored it myself, and I'd engraved the back. Time spent learning is never wasted. Grandpa, he wore it every day. Even to school, where all the other kids had Apple Watches and Fitbits. One of his friends made fun of it. Your watch doesn't even have a screen. Tyler's response made me prouder than anything. It doesn't need a screen. It just needs to work. And when it breaks, I can fix it myself. Can you fix your Apple Watch? That's when I knew I'd succeeded. Not with Jennifer, not entirely. We were still repairing that relationship. Slowly, carefully, like a delicate watch movement. But with Tyler, I'd managed to pass something down. Not the Patek Philippe that should have been his inheritance. Something better. The understanding that value isn't about price. That time is the most precious thing we have. That relationships, like watches, need regular maintenance, or they stop working. That some things are worth preserving, worth repairing, worth passing down. Not because they're expensive, but because they connect us to each other and to the people who came before us. I still think about the Patek sometimes. Wonder who bought it, if they wear it or keep it in a safe. If they wind it every day or let it sit still. I hope they wear it. I hope they understand what they have. But mostly, I think about Saturday mornings in my workshop. Tyler's careful hands learning to manipulate tiny gears. Jennifer sitting in the corner, watching, finally seeing what I'd been trying to show her all along. The watch was worth $127,000. But it only became priceless when someone refused to see it. And maybe that's the most valuable lesson of all. We don't appreciate what we have until we see what it could have been, until we understand what we've lost. I didn't lose the watch. I lost the chance to pass it down the way I'd imagined, the ceremonial transfer from generation to generation. But in losing that, I gained something else. I gained the chance to actually pass down something that mattered. Not a watch, but the wisdom to recognize value when you see it. And that's worth more than any Patek Philippe, any auction price, any number with commas in it. That's worth the time it took to learn it. And time, as I've spent my whole life learning, is the only currency that really matters. You can't restore time. You can't buy it back. You can only choose how to spend it while you have it. I choose to spend mine teaching my grandson that some things are built to last, that patience has value, that taking care of something, fixing something, preserving something, that's how you show love. Not by buying the most expensive gift, but by giving the most precious thing you have, your time.